As the afternoon sun began its descent, Jerome and Cindy found themselves navigating a narrow trail alongside a steep ravine. The path grew treacherous, the rocks slippery with frost. Jerome, ever the adventurer, pushed ahead, encouraging Cindy to follow. Suddenly, the ground beneath Jerome's feet gave way, and he tumbled down a 10-foot ravine with a bone-chilling thud. Pain surged through his leg, and as he tried to stand, he realized with horror that his ankle was twisted at an unnatural angle. Panic set in as the reality of their predicament took hold. Cindy rushed down to his side, her face etched with concern. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced along the ravine walls. With no cell phone reception and miles away from the nearest help, Jerome and Cindy faced the daunting prospect of spending the night in the wilderness. The temperature plummeted as the first flakes of snow began to fall. Nightfall brought an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional howl of distant winds. Cindy fashioned a makeshift splint from branches, doing her best to alleviate Jerome's pain. They huddled together, seeking warmth as the temperature continued its descent. As the moon ascended, the blizzard descended upon the mountains with an unrelenting fury. The snowfall intensified, blanketing the landscape in a thick layer of white. Visibility dwindled, and the once familiar trail vanished beneath the frozen shroud. Jerome's breaths became labored, the pain in his leg intensifying with each passing moment. Cindy, feeling the weight of their predicament, cast anxious glances into the swirling darkness. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it an ominous undertone that sent shivers down their spines. "We can't stay here," Jerome muttered through chattering teeth. "We need to find shelter." Cindy nodded, her eyes scanning the desolate surroundings. With great effort, they managed to inch their way along the ravine, hoping to find refuge from the biting cold. The snow crunched beneath their boots, and the world beyond their immediate surroundings became an impenetrable void. In the distance, they spotted the faint silhouette of a cave opening. Relief washed over them as they stumbled towards it, the wind howling in protest. The cave offered a temporary respite from the blizzard, providing a shield against the biting cold. They gathered whatever dry leaves and twigs they could find to create a feeble fire, its feeble glow casting dancing shadows along the cave walls. Jerome winced as Cindy examined his injured leg, the severity of the situation sinking in. With no way to call for help, Cindy knew they had to endure the night in the unforgiving wilderness. She rationed the limited supplies they had, a few energy bars and a water bottle nearly frozen solid. They clung to each other, their shared body heat providing a fragile source of warmth in the frigid cave. As the hours passed, the blizzard outside showed no signs of relenting. The cave, once a refuge, began to feel more like a prison. The walls seemed to close in on them, and the eerie echoes of the wind outside took on an otherworldly quality. Jerome, weakened by pain and exhaustion, drifted into a fitful sleep. Cindy, vigilant and fearful, stared into the darkness. Strange sounds echoed through the cave, distant whispers that seemed to taunt her, playing tricks on her weary mind. She tried to shake off the unease, attributing the sounds to the wind playing through the mountain crevices. But as the night wore on, the whispers grew more insistent, as if the very walls harbored secrets. Unable to bear the silence any longer, Cindy woke Jerome. The cave seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy, and the shadows danced with a life of their own. Jerome, disoriented and feverish, strained to hear the whispers. "They're calling us," Cindy whispered, her voice barely audible above the wind. "We need to go deeper into the cave." Jerome hesitated, his instincts urging him to stay put, but the chilling atmosphere of the cave spurred them into motion. With trepidation, they ventured further into the abyss, the echoes of the whispers following them like a haunting melody. As they delved deeper, the cave seemed to open into a vast chamber, its walls adorned with eerie formations that resembled faces frozen in agony. The whispers intensified, converging into a ghostly chorus that resonated through the cavern. In the heart of the chamber, they discovered an ancient altar adorned with cryptic symbols. The air grew thick with an unsettling energy, and the shadows coalesced into indistinct shapes that seemed to watch their every move. Cindy, gripped by an inexplicable compulsion, approached the altar. The symbols seemed to writhe and pulsate, and a dim light emanated from within the rock. In that unearthly glow, they glimpsed fleeting images, visions of the mountains, the blizzard, and the tortured souls that lingered in the cave's depths. Jerome, now fully entranced, felt a connection to the unseen forces that surrounded them. The whispers, once haunting, now beckoned with an irresistible allure. They spoke of forgotten tales, of lost souls seeking redemption, and the mountain itself as a guardian of ancient secrets. As the blizzard raged outside, Jerome and Cindy became conduits for spectral energy that transcended the boundaries between the living and the otherworldly. The cave, once a refuge, now pulsed with an eerie resonance, as if the very essence of the mountains had intertwined with their fates. Morning broke, and the blizzard outside subsided. The cave, now devoid of the haunting whispers, returned to a semblance of normalcy. Jerome and Cindy, their memories hazy and fragmented, emerged from the depths, their connection to the mountain's mysteries forever etched in their minds. The snow-covered landscape stretched before them, pristine and untouched. As they made their way back to civilization, the whispers of the blizzard lingered in their memories, a chilling reminder of a night spent at the mercy of forces that transcended the natural world. The Appalachian Mountains, forever guarding their secrets, echoed with the frozen whispers of an ancient, untold tale. Wrapped in the comforting embrace of my blankets, I lay in blissful isolation, sheltered from the tumultuous symphony of the snowstorm outside. The wind howled, and the relentless cascade of snow against the window created a cocoon of white. The night had claimed its dominion, and I surrendered to the soothing whispers of the storm, letting them guide me into the realm of dreams. The wind howled through the night, carrying with it the first ominous whispers of the approaching blizzard. I stood at the window, watching as the first snowflakes danced in the darkness. The forecast had predicted a storm of historic proportions, but nothing could have prepared me for the nightmare that awaited. As the storm intensified, the world outside my cozy cabin vanished into a white abyss. The wind rattled the windows, and the eerie silence that followed each gust sent shivers down my spine. I tried to distract myself with the crackling fire, but an unshakable unease settled over me. As the hours passed, the cabin creaked and groaned under the relentless assault of the blizzard. I wrapped myself in blankets, seeking warmth that seemed to slip through the cracks in the walls. The isolation pressed upon me, and the distant howls of the wind took on an unsettling cadence, like a chorus of ghosts mourning their fate. I decided to brave the storm if only to catch a glimpse of the outside world. The door resisted my efforts, frozen in place by the merciless cold. With a forceful shove, it finally relented, revealing a landscape transformed into a surreal dreamscape of snowdrifts and shadows. I ventured into the blinding tempest, each step leaving a fleeting imprint that the wind threatened to erase. The snow stung my face, and the world beyond my cabin seemed to dissolve into an icy void. My only guide was the dim glow of neighboring cabins, their windows barely visible through the relentless cascade of snow. As I stumbled through the frozen landscape, a distant figure appeared on the periphery of my vision. A silhouette, barely discernible against the white backdrop, seemed to beckon me forward. I hesitated, my breath visible in the frigid air, but an unexplainable compulsion urged me to follow. The figure led me deeper into the blizzard, the wind sculpting surreal shapes around us. The air crackled with an unnatural energy, and the snow beneath my boots seemed to whisper forgotten secrets. The cabin lights dimmed, and the world blurred into an indistinct dreamscape. The figure finally came into focus, revealing itself as a spectral presence, a woman in an antiquated dress, her eyes reflecting a haunting blend of sorrow and longing. Without uttering a word, she gestured toward the heart of the storm, where shadows danced in a macabre ballet. As we reached a clearing, the blizzard's symphony of whispers intensified. The spectral woman pointed to a spot on the ground, where the snow revealed an ancient burial site. The ghosts of the past clawed at the edges of my consciousness, weaving a tapestry of tragedy and loss. In that desolate clearing, the storm reached its peak, and the ghosts of the blizzard unfurled their stories. The woman's voice merged with the wind, recounting a tale of a long-forgotten tragedy that had buried the souls of the town beneath layers of snow and sorrow. As dawn approached, the blizzard abated, leaving me standing alone in the clearing. The spectral woman dissipated into the morning mist, her story echoing in the wind. The world around me was silent, as if nature itself mourned the tales of the frozen echoes. I returned to my cabin, haunted by the memories of that fateful night. The storm had subsided, but the scars it left on the landscape were a testament to the ghosts that lingered in the heart of the blizzard. The snow-covered town held secrets buried beneath its icy surface, and the memories of that haunted night would forever be etched in my mind like frozen echoes of a bygone tragedy. Jerome and Cindy had embarked on a seemingly idyllic hiking trip in the Appalachian Mountains. The crisp air and vibrant foliage painted a picturesque backdrop as they ventured into the heart of the wilderness. Little did they know, the beauty of nature would soon transform into a chilling nightmare. Abruptly, I was jerked awake, my eyes springing open. A rhythmic tapping echoed through the room, jarring me from the tranquil world of slumber. At first, I dismissed it as a figment of my half-asleep imagination, attributing the sound to the capricious nature of the storm. However, as consciousness fully embraced me, the tapping persisted, relentless and determined. I sat up, the room cast in an eerie glow by the moonlight filtering through the snow-laden clouds. The tapping continued a ghostly Morse code that seemed to carry a message only the night understood. Instinctively, I turned my gaze toward the window. There, in the hazy darkness, I discerned a vague silhouette. My breath caught as I strained to make sense of the obscure figure. It wasn't a trick of the storm, nor a fleeting shadow. It was a presence. A figure standing just beyond the veil of falling snow, tapping on my window with an unnatural persistence. As a chill coursed through my veins, I hesitated. Fear clawed at the edges of my consciousness, urging me to remain hidden beneath the covers. Yet, a peculiar curiosity propelled me forward. With trembling hands, I parted the curtain, revealing the obscured face of the intruder. The figure, draped in a tattered cloak, stood with its back to me. Long, matted hair cascaded down its shoulders, veiling its face. The tapping emanated from elongated, skeletal fingers, skeletal in their appearance but strangely human in their articulation. Dread clung to the air as I watched the figure continue its ghostly ritual. My heart raced as I grappled with the absurdity of the situation. Was it a lost wanderer seeking refuge from the storm, or something more sinister cloaked in the guise of a human form? As if sensing my scrutiny, the figure slowly turned, revealing a face shrouded in darkness. It raised its bony hand, gesturing for me to approach the window. An unspoken compulsion gripped me, pulling me toward the glass. The tapping now echoed in my mind, a disconcerting rhythm that resonated with an unseen force. My hand pressed against the cold pane as the figure tilted its head as if acknowledging my silent acknowledgement. In the fleeting seconds that felt like an eternity, a realization dawned. This was no ordinary encounter. A supernatural presence had breached the veil between the known and the unknown, and I stood at the precipice of an inexplicable occurrence. Fear swirled within me as I stumbled back, my mind grappling with the inexplicable. I had to call for help and summon the authorities to navigate this eerie conundrum. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed the emergency number. The tapping persisted, now a haunting backdrop to the urgency in my voice as I recounted the bizarre encounter to the dispatcher. The police assured me that help was on the way, urging me to stay put and avoid any confrontation. As I awaited their arrival, the tapping outside intensified, taking on an almost desperate cadence. Shadows danced across the room, casting grotesque shapes on the walls. Minutes stretched into an agonizing eternity until the distant wail of sirens pierced the night. Relief washed over me as the flashing lights of the police car illuminated the snowy landscape. The tapping ceased abruptly, leaving behind an unsettling stillness. The officers approached cautiously, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. I guided them to the window, but to my shock, the figure had vanished. No footprints marred the freshly fallen snow, and the only evidence of the unearthly encounter was the lingering unease that clung to the air. As the police conducted a thorough search, I couldn't shake the feeling that the tapping had served as a harbinger, a message from a realm beyond our understanding. The officers, unable to unearth any tangible evidence, assured me that it might have been a trick of the storm or a mischievous wanderer. Yet, as they left and the storm receded into a distant murmur, I couldn't dismiss the lingering sense of disquiet. The tapping on my window had opened a portal to the unknown, leaving me with questions that eluded rational answers. With a wary gaze, I watched the retreating tail lights of the police car disappear into the night. The snowstorm had subsided, leaving behind a blanket of pristine white. I closed the curtains, attempting to shield myself from the gaze of the otherworldly visitor, but the tapping lingered in the recesses of my mind, a chilling reminder that sometimes the boundary between reality and the supernatural is a fragile veil easily pierced by the mysterious forces that inhabit the night. It was a bitterly cold night, and the town was transformed into a winter wonderland by the relentless snowstorm. I had just finished my shift at the local gas station, weary from the mundane tasks that defined my evenings. With a bag of groceries in hand, I trudged through the snow-covered sidewalks, longing for the warmth of my home. The gas station's flickering lights faded into the distance as the snowfall intensified, creating an almost ethereal ambience. The sky had darkened prematurely, and the wind carried an ominous whisper through the icy air. As I navigated the near-silent streets, my footsteps leaving a faint trail in the fresh snow, an unsettling feeling of being watched settled over me. Out of the swirling snow, a figure emerged, a man with his features shrouded by the hood of his coat. He walked with an eerie, deliberate gait, and a chill crawled up my spine. I quickened my pace, hoping to lose him in the maze of snow-covered houses, but he matched my every move, his presence a haunting specter in the storm. The glow of a convenience store appeared like a beacon in the distance, and a sense of relief washed over me. I made my way through the thickening snow to the warmth and light within. The bell above the door jingled as I entered, and the warmth inside offered a brief sanctuary from the biting cold. I approached the counter, where a middle-aged woman with a kind smile greeted me. Her name tag read Martha. I couldn't help but feel a sense of comfort in her presence. As I unloaded my groceries onto the counter, I shared the unsettling encounter with the mysterious man. Martha's expression shifted from casual attentiveness to concern. That sounds unnerving. You know, with a storm like this, you never know who's out there. She glanced toward the frost-covered windows. Why don't you stay in the back for a bit? I'll call the police, just to be safe. Grateful for her kindness, I retreated to the back of the store, where the hum of refrigerators provided a steady background noise. Martha dialed the police, her voice hushed as she recounted the details of my encounter. As I waited, fear gnawed at my senses, and the minutes stretched into an agonizing eternity. As Martha spoke with the police, a shadow moved just beyond the frosted windows. The figure, clad in a hooded coat, emerged from the snowstorm, his face obscured in the darkness. Panic surged as he approached the entrance, his gloved hands fumbling with the door handle. Martha's eyes widened in alarm, and she rushed to lock the door just in time. The hooded man, undeterred, pressed his face against the glass, his breath leaving foggy imprints. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized the full extent of the danger lurking just outside. With frantic urgency, Martha and I huddled in the back of the store, the sounds of the man's attempts to force the door sending shivers through the silent aisles. The minutes crawled by, each second amplifying the tension in the small space. We prayed for the police to arrive swiftly and rescue us from this surreal nightmare. Finally, the distant wail of sirens pierced the night, and the hooded man, realizing his pursuit was futile, melted back into the swirling snow. The police car pulled up with a sense of authority, its flashing lights casting an eerie glow on the snow-covered streets. As the officers conducted a thorough search of the area, I couldn't shake the lingering unease. The snowstorm outside continued its relentless assault, and the once cozy convenience store now felt like a fragile refuge against the unknown. Martha offered me a cup of hot coffee and a comforting smile. "You'll be all right, dear. We'll make sure you get home safely." Her kindness eased the tension that had coiled within me. I thanked her sincerely, gathered my groceries, and ventured back into the swirling snow. The police car was parked nearby, its flashing lights casting an eerie glow on the snow-covered streets. With each step, I felt the weight of their watchful eyes. The encounter left an indelible mark on my sense of security, a chilling reminder that even in the serenity of a snow-covered town, darkness could lurk, and chance encounters could spiral into unsettling tales that refused to be forgotten. In the years that followed, the memory of that night cast a shadow over my walks through the snow-covered streets. The hooded figure remained etched in my mind, a phantom haunting the quiet beauty of winter. The snowstorm stranger became a symbol of the unseen perils that could lurk in the most unexpected corners of a town, turning a routine walk home into a nightmarish encounter with the unknown.